Good morning, everyone. A little too strong. Good morning, everyone. Okay, it's probably not even morning when you're watching this. All right. Good morning, everyone. Slow down, champ. Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day in Craw Park. Thank you all so much for watching. I sincerely appreciate it. If you haven't already, think about subscribing below. So usually we read the Bible from book to book. However, this is going to be a special video. In this video, I'm going to talk about King Saul. So the reason we're talking about King Saul today is because currently at my church, I'm enrolled in a prophet class. One of our first assignments was to pick a prophet from the Bible and write a page paper on them. And so a small voice told me to write about King Saul. And so here we are. So to start you off, here's some background information about King Saul. He is actually the first king of Israel. There was an extensive period of time where the people of Israel went without really great leadership, actually poor leadership. And so they wanted a king, someone that they could look up to and lead them. Now actually God did not want this to happen. However, God gave them their wish. They wanted a king, therefore through Samuel, God gave them a king, King Saul. Sadly, the story of King Saul is one of tragedy, a tale of two men. First, who started off humble, a courageous warrior, and a great leader, but sadly died as someone who was jealous, bitter, and turned to evil. The story of King Saul takes place in 1 Samuel of the Bible. And as you read through that portion of the Bible, it may seem very easy to look down on King Saul, despise him, and really judge him. However, his faults are very similar to ours. Jealousy, self-doubt, low patience, a failure to be accountable to his actions. I mean, these are things that we all struggle with, including myself. Unfortunately, King Saul makes error after error and never fully recovers. And after a while, God has dismissed him from his presence. So I definitely encourage you to read 1 Samuel. It's a lot of stuff in there, a lot of things that we can take out to apply to our own lives. I'm going to just cover a few things from that passage of the Bible. So one of the fatal flaws of King Saul is his lack of patience. We can clearly see this as he prepares for battle with the Philistines. Samuel, King Saul's conduit to God, told him to wait 7 days before he offered a sacrifice before the battle of the Philistines. So because King Saul gets nervous, his warriors are fleeing in terror, he decides to offer the sacrifice early, before Samuel returns. And of course this creates a disaster. And when Samuel returns, he is livid. He can't understand why King Saul could not be obedient and be patient. Now the good thing is God showed him grace. He was actually able to win that battle against the Philistines. King Saul's second fatal error is that he explicitly disobeyed God. God told him to wipe out the Amalekites completely. Men, women, babies, sheep, cattle, goats, camels, everything must go. Now you would think that was very clear. Kill everybody, kill everything. Doesn't get much simpler than that. But what does King Saul do? Thinking that he knows better than God and bowing to the whims of the people, he allows the people to persuade him to keep the cattle and the sheep. He kills everybody else, but keeps the king alive. So Samuel comes back and says, great job, but why do I hear sheep? King Saul replies, well, you know, the people wanted the sheep, and so I was going to give them the best, and we're going to sacrifice it later. And I didn't want to kill the king because I just gave him mercy. And Samuel was looking at him like, what are you doing? God said kill everything and everybody. You know what? That's it. And so unfortunately on that day, Samuel had to deliver the bad news to King Saul that he would no longer be king. Now it wasn't immediate, but at that time, even God himself was upset. He was looking like, why did I choose him? He was sad. Now if you do a little bit of research, you'll see that this passage about wiping the Amalekites off the face of the earth goes back to really the beginning of the Bible in Exodus. Essentially the Bible says here, and I'm paraphrasing, the war between God's people and the Amalekites is essentially the same fight between good and evil. Now if you do some more research, you'll see that some theologians say that from the time that King Agag was captured, from the time that Samuel killed him, he was actually able to reproduce and have a child. And because King Saul did not obey God and utterly destroy the Amalekites, some theologians say that this is why the Holocaust happened. As stated before, the fight between God's people and the Amalekites is essentially the Amalekites trying to destroy the Jews and wipe them off of the earth. And that's exactly what the Holocaust was. Nazis trying to wipe the Jews off the face of the earth. Now just think, if King Saul would have done what he was supposed to do and eradicate the Amalekites, we could have avoided the Holocaust. So as I close this video, there's one thing that I read throughout this passage that definitely applies to this day and age. The Bible says that King Saul became consumed with jealousy about David, the one that God had chosen over him. King Saul was so worried about David, it ruined his life. His family turned against him. His own friends turned against him. The people didn't trust him anymore. He basically ended his life alone. And it's really sad because King Saul had everything. If he had just been concerned about his own life, concerned about his own call, and not worried about anybody else, David would not have been a factor. But because he was worried about what other people thought and how he was perceived, that allowed David to come in. So really what I got from that is that if we just focus on ourselves, really with blinders on, not worried about other people, then no one can take our kingdom. Whether it's our job, our spouse, our relationships, anything. Nobody can take what is rightfully ours as long as we just stay focused. Whew, now that helped me and I hope it helps you too. King Saul was a great man, but some fatal flaws led to his demise. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.